Welcome back to another episode of We Are Human, and I am here with the one and only Andre Vargas Rue.
Sure.
We've got some Negronis today,
Brownies.
made by the man himself. Cheers.
Cheers, dude.
You're a producer.
Yeah.
You're a mixing
Yeah,
engineer.
yeah.
You're a musician.
Yep.
A studio musician. I know just because we are friends and we've been friends
Yeah.
for such a long time that 80's music has played such a key role in like your influence
Yeah.
and in your production.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to elaborate on that and how it's shaped you, especially over the last few years where you
Yeah.
have developed your craft.
So the sounds of the 80s are my palette for modern production, is kind of where all that's led me now. Playing punk music, even though I love punk music, it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And it took me a long time to figure out that I liked 80s music because I hated pop growing up. 80s music was when I actually got it, you know? Like, it was a Tears for Fears record that got me. It's called The Seeds of Love. I think it's 1985. Dude, like, opening notes of the first song on that record just changed my life. Like, I remember I was in this neighborhood at my cousin Hannah's house, and I was on my Samsung Galaxy before I even had a freaking iPhone, dude. My Samsung Galaxy 2, and I was on the Google Play Store, and it was like, The Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears, download for $1, like the whole record for $1. It was like a special deal that they did only for that day. And I had always known that name, but I never knew like who they were. Like I had never heard like Everybody Wants to Rule the World or anything.
Right.
I put on my headphones, and literally the opening notes of Woman in Chains, it's like literally just drums and bass, and there was something in the sound that just captivated me in like instantly. I was just like, I've never heard anything like this.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I was just in love with 80s music. Like I got into Michael Jackson, Phil Collins, Toto, and many others. And I spent a lot of time after that trying to emulate those sounds or trying to make songs like those. Or I think like the songs that I've put out this year with Autograph Cards is where I actually reached like, this is what all of that led to. It's like,
Yeah.
I collected those sounds. Like I bought a bunch of analog synthesizers, like the stuff, like I have 2 synthesizers that were literally fabricated, like on the tag it says 1983. And I love that because it's literally the stuff that my favorite bands from then played.
When I heard I Don't Want to Be Seen,
Yeah.
like I had to text you. Like
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And it just felt like it was so you listening to that. And when I listened to it, like I was driving home from work, I just feel like I'm in like the climax of a movie.
Yeah.
Like it's nighttime and everything is going so well right before shit's about to hit the fan. But
Dude,
like
yeah,
it's the pure like enjoyment of that moment
Yes.
is what
Oh my God, yeah.
the drop sounds like.
I'm so glad, yeah. That song came out of nowhere, honestly. So the previous night, I was intoxicated, and I woke up like super hungover, and I was gonna hang out with somebody, and the whole morning, like the drive over to hang out with this person, I was just like, I don't want to be seen by people. Like we were gonna go out and hang out like outside, and I was just like, I don't want to be seen by people. Like I feel like shit. Like I don't really want to do this today. And like I just said that to myself in my head, and from then it was just like I just had I don't want to be seen stuck in my head, and then I just formulated that lyrical idea, and then yeah, literally I feel like a shitty person because that whole time that I was hanging out with this person, I literally just had like I was writing the song in my head the whole time that I was with this other person. I was like, I want to get home and write this song, and I didn't, but like I just had it in my head, and then I was working on Venus, which Venus is a whole other monster. But by the time that I was finishing the mix for Venus, I remember it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and I was putting in the last edits on Venus, and it was probably like 5 or 6 p.m. Like I had gone home from work and I finished the final edits, and I was so ready to upload it. But then like something in me was like, make I Don't Want to Be Seen right now. So I literally just stayed up all night. I went from like 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Like literally 2 in the morning, I was going back and forth from my room where the studio is to my car to listen to mixes.
Oh,
and
love
I
those
literally
tricks.
like straight up 8 hours nonstop, and I just made the song in one night, one sitting. I didn't even look back. I was just like, I'm going for it. And yeah, and like you said, and like a lot of people have said, like they like it over Venus, even though Venus took me 3 weeks. I Don't Want to Be Seen is the one people like more, and I think it's because for me it was like the most pure statement of me. And then like after, like I just wrote the words and I didn't really put too much thought into it.
Yeah.
But it was after I had written it and I was mixing it, I was like, what does this song actually mean to me? And I started to just realize and like kind of like dream about the song, and I was like, the song is really a sentiment and a love letter to like my friends and like all my memories. I guess, yeah, I've dropped 2 previous things that I both took them off just because I was like, this isn't what I want to do. I guess I just had a huge identity crisis for the past couple years and was like, what am I as an artist?
Yeah.
What do I want to represent me? So that's why I dropped like 2 previous things, like Teakwood Candles and then Sinnoh.
Yeah.
And those were like getting there, but they weren't there. Like they weren't like actually my sound. It was just stuff that I was making that I thought was cool in the moment and wanted to upload just for fun. But this time I was like, okay, if I'm gonna drop something, I want it to actually be very representative of me and the music that I make and the music that I love. So that's kind of like, that's the sentiment with Autograph Cards, specifically the name. I was kind of mulling over the name because I was over Sinnoh, and for whatever reason, I remembered, maybe I drove through like next to a Walmart or whatever, but I specifically remembered this memory from when I was little, when I first moved here from Venezuela. Anytime I went to Walmart with my mom, I would ask her for baseball cards. Like I knew the price, and I would like save up my own dollar and pennies and be like, 107, like buy me a pack of baseball cards. And that's kind of where it started. I was like, okay, baseball cards doesn't sound cool, trading cards doesn't sound cool, and then it eventually like, I just went down that rabbit hole until I landed on autograph cards. Because you know, like when you get trading cards like from sports, sometimes they autograph it. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. So autograph cards. So for me, like that title, that band name is just like the sentiment of nostalgia and of my childhood. So yeah. I call it Autograph Cards because I wanted to represent every aspect of my life. Like, and I think that did it really well.
Can you recall the lowest point that you've been in, and like how did you navigate through that adversity, and who was around you during that time? Like who was really trying to or uplifting you when you were at your lowest, and what was going on during that season of your life?
The biggest lows that I've had have always been just like around girls, just because I always do care about relationships, and going through a breakup is tough. So anytime I have been through a breakup, it's always been pretty just crappy, and just like it went from being like the first couple ones was from like, okay, this is my fault, what did I do? And then like the past couple ones have just been like, none of these are working out and I don't know what to do about that. But I would say like what happens in those moments is I specifically tend to like become a little more reclusive. So I like hide, I stop hanging out with people. I just like stay in my bed and watch Netflix and stuff. And yeah, it just gets lonely, and I get stuck in this really weird cycle of like, I'm lonely, but I'm keeping myself lonely, and then I just feel shitty about keeping myself lonely, and it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And it keeps going. One of my favorite lyrics is from the 1975's new record. It's literally the last line of a song called The Birthday Party, and he says, I depend on my friends to stay clean, as sad as it seems. And that's like for me, like the first time I heard that song, I was like, shit, that's me to a T. It's like whenever I'm at my lowest, I need to be around my friends, and it's kind of like, I kind of just feel weird about it that I literally like, I don't reach out to friends a lot unless I want to hang out. So it just always feels kind of odd to be like, hey, I'm going through a shitty moment, like, can you just be here for me? Like, it just feels weird to reach out for them because I don't normally. So whenever I do, it's like, yeah, it's a different experience. But that's been the one thing that just always pulls me out. It's just like hanging out with someone and saying, hey, let's go to the beach, let's go to Disney. Like, yeah, like my two of my closest friends, Bridget and Isabella, I literally called them when I broke up with one of my girlfriends in high school, and you know, the first thing they said was, hey, we're at Magic Kingdom. Like, they literally were just like, we're at Magic Kingdom, like, come. And I was hanging out with my mom that day, and I was just like, hey, Mom, can I borrow the car? And I just went to Magic Kingdom and hung out with them the rest of the night. And that is also one of my favorite nights that I've ever had in my entire life. It's just hanging out with them because I was at my lowest. But they literally made that disappear
Yeah.
within seconds. Yeah.
And it's necessary at
Yeah.
some points. Like, it's absolutely necessary and important.
Yeah.
And like accountability, all those things are like rooted in that, just to keep you like in your high spirits.
Yeah.
And give or take or whatever, however it is that the balance in the relationships and friendships work.
Yeah.
Like, it should be beneficial and encouraging, like, all around.
I don't know, when shit hits the fan, like, it's like a hibernation. It's like I go away for a little bit, and it is, like I said, it's really lonely. These two songs that I released mean the world to me because they were my ultimate release from everything that's happened to me over the past couple of years, like with my parents separating, my last two breakups. Like, it's just all left me kind of just questioning, like, what am I actually doing with my life? I'm not where I thought I would be at 24, and that's okay.
Right.
But it was just that realization. I was like, when I was 17, I thought at 24 I'd be touring the world, like, whether it was for my own thing or for somebody else. I'm a capable musician, so I was like, I thought I'd be doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm not. And that just really like stung. I was just like, I'm not doing enough for myself. And around that time, I got asked to move to New York, and I said yeah. And I've been super stoked on that since. But then I started talking to a close friend of mine about moving, and he basically like stopped me in my tracks and was like, you're not disciplined enough to succeed in New York. And that was a really tough conversation to have. Like, it was from a place of love.
Yeah.
But still, like, it's hard to hear that.
Of course.
And he was absolutely right, because I mean, it's what I've been dealing with. It's like, I was just like, I'm not doing enough for myself or my career. And when he said that, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not, because other people can notice it, because I have the talent. So it just like really rewired a lot for me over the past couple months.
I was gonna ask you, because to a degree we think we think very similarly.
Yeah.
We're both Aries.
Yeah.
For me, like, I'm a very like productive person. Like, I have to be doing something.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then I'm thriving off of doing something, even while helping people, because I am also like, I'm a 2 also.
Oh, you are?
And you're an 8.
I figured you were a 2.
Of course.
I mean,
Which is not.
we never talked about it. She's a 2, yeah. I figured you were a 2.
Shout out to Maddie.
Shout out to Maddie Pesh.
If I'm not doing anything, that's when I get in my head and I'm like, oh shit, I'm sad.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I can't be sad right now. Like, I got other stuff to deal with and to worry about. So I don't know if that thought process is any similar.
It's pretty similar. I would just say like our motivations are different just because I'm an 8.
Right, of
For
course.
me, it's like, definitely, I love when I'm productive. Sometimes it's hard for me to get productive. Like, it's kind of like running. Like, getting off your bed and putting on your shoes is the hardest step. But once you're outside, you have no fucking choice. You gotta go for it. And that's how I am with music. It's like, getting out of my bed and sitting on my chair and opening up Ableton is the hardest moment and the most daunting thing. But the moment I find a sound that like I don't want to be saying I did it in 8 hours. It's like the moment I find a sound that just like captures me, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be stuck on this software for the next 2 days. And it's weird. Like, I don't care about like the personal gain from it too much. Like, I clearly want to succeed and make a career off of music, but I don't do it for fame. I do it literally for the feeling, for the moment. Like, we've played shows together, and I mean, you've seen me, like the one office hours show that I played bass on last year. Like, that was one of my favorite shows I've ever done, and it's because I just really let loose. And it's literally like, when I'm on stage, that is what I live for. It's for that moment where, like, I don't care if there's 1 million people or 100 or 10 in front of me. Once I'm on a stage, it's like, I feel like I have the permission to just absolutely floor it.
To go for it. Yeah,
just
of course.
floor it. And that's why I do music. It's because I want to just get up on a stage, maybe not every night, but like frequently, super frequently, and just like give my all, sweat my ass off, and just have the night of my life.
Yeah.
And that, for me, that's just that's what life's about for me. It's like, at the end of the day, like, I just want to look back and know that I gave everything that I care about my all. And that's kind of it. That's why I do it.